Imagine building a company inside a small garage with almost no money and one day turning it into the most valuable company in the world. That sounds impossible, but that's exactly what Apple did. Apple's journey began in 1976 when two young friends, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, decided to build a personal computer. At that time, computers were huge, expensive, and used mainly by universities and large companies. Very few people believed that ordinary families would ever own one. Steve Wozniak designed the computer while Steve Jobs saw the business opportunity. They had almost no money, so Jobs sold his Volkswagen van and Wozniak sold his scientific calculator to raise enough cash. Working from Jobs' parents' garage, they built the Apple I. It was simple and lacked many features, but it proved that a personal computer could become a reality. Soon, a local computer store ordered 50 Apple I computers, giving the young company its first major breakthrough. This early success gave Apple the confidence to dream bigger. In 1977, Apple launched the Apple II, a computer designed for everyday people instead of engineers. It featured color graphics, a modern design, and was much easier to use than competing machines. Customers loved it, and sales grew rapidly. Within just a few years, Apple transformed from a tiny garage startup into one of America's fastest-growing technology companies. Steve Jobs believed that people didn't just buy technology, they bought experiences. He focused on beautiful design, simple products, and an unforgettable customer experience. This philosophy made Apple different from every other computer company. In 1980, Apple went public in one of the biggest IPOs of its time. Steve Jobs became one of the youngest self-made millionaires in history, but he wasn't satisfied with financial success. He wanted to build a computer that anyone could use. That vision became the Macintosh, introduced in 1984. Apple also released its famous Super Bowl commercial, which changed the way technology products were marketed. The Macintosh became one of the most talked about computers in the world. However, behind the scenes, serious problems were growing. The Macintosh was expensive, sales disappointed, and Steve Jobs' demanding leadership style created conflict inside the company. In 1985, Apple's board made a shocking decision. They removed Steve Jobs from the very company he had helped create. For many people, it looked like the end of Steve Jobs' story. But, in reality, it was only the beginning. After Steve Jobs was fired in 1985, many people believed his career was over. But instead of giving up, he founded a new company called Next, and later invested in a small animation studio called Pixar, which would eventually produce world-famous films like Toy Story. Meanwhile, Apple struggled without its visionary leader. The company released too many confusing products, sales declined, and it lost millions of dollars. By the mid-1990s, Apple was close to bankruptcy. In 1997, Apple made a historic decision by acquiring Next, bringing Steve Jobs back to the company. His first step was simple but bold. He eliminated most of Apple's product lineup and focused on a few exceptional products. This strategy reduced costs and gave the company a clear direction. In 1998, Apple launched the colorful iMac, which became a huge success and restored customer confidence. 3 years later came the iPod, transforming the music industry with the promise of 1,000 songs in your pocket. Apple strengthened this success by introducing iTunes, making digital music simple and legal. The biggest breakthrough arrived in 2007 with the launch of the iPhone. It combined a phone, a music player, and an internet device into one product. Its touchscreen design completely changed the smartphone industry and forced competitors like Nokia and BlackBerry to fall behind. In 2008, Apple introduced the App Store, creating a powerful ecosystem where millions of developers built apps while Apple earned revenue from every purchase. This ecosystem kept customers loyal and made Apple stronger than ever. Even after Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, Apple continued to grow under Tim Cook's leadership with products like the Apple Watch, AirPods, and Apple Silicon Macs. Today, Apple is one of the world's most valuable companies. Its journey proves that great success doesn't come from having the most money. It comes from having a clear vision, relentless innovation, and the courage to keep moving forward even after failure.